Hello, Phoebe. If you're wondering what happened to my spaceship, or if you wonder what the dogs are all about, well, this alien is at work. But I have a book review to deliver, so let's get on with the program. Hello there, humans. I'm Cecile Renaud, the partially blind alien from a distant galaxy who is an Own Voices author, and today I'm going to talk about a book. Yes, my first book review, so it's not gonna be perfect, and I still try to figure out my actual review structure. So if you have suggestions for me to improve, you will let me know after you watch this video. Let me know in the comments. I listen to everything, but let's get on with this, because this alien is at work. And today I'm going to talk about a book that I recently read. Although I know the author for many years, finally I had a chance to pick up one of her books. This is actually a short story, and it's a hard science fiction called Blueshift by Grace E. Robinson, and this is a very honest review. Knowing the author for so many years has nothing to do with the outcome of my opinion. There are criticisms that I'm going to bring up, there are things that I'm going to applaud, but whatever it turns out to be with these reviews of mine, I just want to support the authors and their books. And regardless of whatever criticism I show up in my video, I still feel that the book is worth reading. If I read a book and I don't talk about it, now that I have a space to talk about books, because there are many that I have already read that I want to talk about in the future, but my silence is the sign that if I say I was reading a book and then I never talk about it again, that's the okay, she didn't think it's worth recommending or anything. If I spend time, even when I'm at work, to talk about a book review, to talk about something about a book, whatever, it means I want to support it, regardless of whatever criticism I bring up. Anyway, now that I got that out of the way. By the way, I'm not going to edit this video, so all my ramble is going to go in. I apologize. Anyway, this is. I'm so sorry that this book is my guinea pig for my reviews, but I'm going to stay as honest as I can. Plus, I'm at work, so there's not much I can do right now. Anyway, Blueshift by Grace E. Robinson is a hard science fiction about a space crew who are dismantling the spaceship that is orbiting Epsilon Omega 4, which is an ice giant planet, and the planet is going on a transitional state. It's developing a magnetosphere, so they have to do something and pack up their things and leave, so to speak, because, the orbit around the planet is no longer plausible, things are changing, they have to go and they have to dismantle this once called home. Especially for Ellen, this was her home, not anymore. So I'm going to evaluate this book. That was my understanding of the blurb. It was not a word by word blurb, but yeah, that was what Dal remembers about the blurb. Now, I'm going to be evaluating it based on, did I put the book down, yes or no? What about the characters? What about the structure, like plot and beginning, middle, and end and all that stuff? Writing, and the rest is just going to be more of a personal, subjective opinion. That's where my 5 stars are going to come out, if they come or not. How many stars I'm going to plan to give each book, I don't know. I mean, this is how I am evaluating things as of right now. Things can change, but yeah, I'm still new to this whole book review thing. So first point, did I put the book down? Yeah, I did. Why am I evaluating this? Because first of all, I don't read with my eyes. I read with audiobook format, or when there's no audiobook and I have really no more choice, I have to depend on my robotic reader. And it is a monotonic voice with almost no inflections, and it sounds annoying like this. And if I put the book down, it's because I can't take it anymore, because you can hear how annoying I sound imitating my robotic voice. You see, it is that annoying. You have heard how it sounds in actually one of my previous videos in my BookTube newbie tag. I'm going to link that in the cards, and then at the end of that video you can hear the robotic thing talking. Anyway, unfortunately, I did put the book down. I don't know if it was because of the habit of reading this in my commute, because I kind of tried to structure my reading habits, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read this book in my commute, in whatever public transport I jump in, I'm gonna listen to this book, and then at home I'm going to listen to this other book. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I did it because I made the mistake that this book was really a short story, so it wasn't as long as a full-length novel, and I associated that with commuting for some reason, and maybe that was my mistake. But it could have also been all the jargon and technobabble combined with this annoying robotic voice. Maybe sci-fi should be definitely an audiobook experience and not a freaking robot telling you the story, because it really kind of ruins it sometimes. It's not the fault of the author. It was the fault of my assistive technology and the annoyance of the robotic sounds. But I have the belief, because I have also read books with my robotic voice, that I haven't been able to put down. So this is why I am evaluating this. I have had some books that were so gripping and so good that I didn't care, and I put up with the robotic voice, and I just couldn't put them down. I fell asleep because I was exhausted, and I woke up anxious, and I was like, no, I need to listen to what happened. And I rewind a little bit, and I caught up where I was before falling asleep, and then I couldn't put it down. So I have had all kinds of experience with this robot in my ears, and I want to evaluate that because it's very unique. It's my own perspective, and I don't know if any other booktuber is doing that. So did I put the book down? Unfortunately, yes, but I picked it up again. So I cannot just say, oh, it's the book's fault. Maybe it was just a whole technobabble plus robotic voice. I picked it up again. I was curious to see how it went. And yeah, I would say half a star. We'll see. Now let's talk about the characters. The main character's name is Elin Halsdottir, and points for not naming her Riley or Shayla or whatever that's not Icelandic. Props for actually researching. Well, she didn't have to research. Grace and I are these kind of quirky authors who like Iceland for some reason, and we have a connection with Icelandic culture, so I know that Grace didn't really have to put too much thought in this. I know that she knows that she is not going to name her characters Riley, so I know it was a safe dive into this book. I know Elin Halsdottir, I know that Icelandic, and her father's name is Hallur Einarsson. So yeah, the Icelandic naming structure is in place. Props for that, Grace. You have it. You go, girl. Anyway, I said I was gonna make this review subjective. Oh my god. Is the camera still in place? It is still in place. Anyway. That's the only thing I'm going to edit. Anyway. Now about the character interactions. How did Elin and the rest of the crew interact? Well, I had the understanding that these people didn't really know each other for that long, because at the beginning of the story, their interactions were kind of shallow. I don't know if this is also a vision of the future where we just keep things, all of it, at surface level. Mostly. I mean, there was a deeper interaction with one of the other characters, but I don't have an objective opinion about that. Despite I also becoming a romance author, I didn't like it, but that was a me thing, and objectively, it felt predictable. But again, I still don't know if it was a me thing or it was an objective evaluation of the interaction of those two characters in particular. But overall, all the characters had interactions like it could have been developed a little bit further. It was there, but maybe the development of the characters suffered due to the length of the story and also the plot-driven kind of story, because I know that this story was much more plot and not so much character-driven. So that would have been a reason for the characters to suffer. Panda! The dog. The dog! The dog. I said if you hear dog noises, I'm at work. So that's a thing. Anyway, before this review gets even lengthier, let's talk about the structure. I have to edit that. I'm so sorry. Anyway, yeah. Okay. Before the video gets too long, let's go on with the structure. This was a plot-driven book. I can tell because I'm an outliner myself, and yeah, this was plot-driven more than character-driven. The stakes get higher and higher and higher, and I could say this book isn't really for surprises, or maybe it is because I am an outliner myself, but I saw it coming. Everything that happened or didn't happen, I saw it coming. I don't know if it's because I am a sci-fi writer and also an outliner, but everything that happened or didn't happen, or who was going to take the suffering or whatever that may or may not have happened in the book, I saw it coming. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to say that as a sci-fi reader, I saw it coming. Absolutely everything, I saw it. Unfortunately, it was maybe too well structured, and maybe because this is my genre, I picked it up quickly. But I have to give props for the well-rounded research, because the author knows what was done, and like, despite being very technobabbly and there's a lot of physics jargon in it, it wasn't intimidating, and it was very understandable as the story progressed. It was clear, it was not out of nowhere, like things didn't just happen. There were reasons for it, even though like felt that things just came out of nowhere. In the end, scientists, no matter how accurate they try to be, there was always a thing that scientists cannot predict, or they predict but it happens sooner or later than they predicted it would happen. So yeah, that you will experience that as the story goes on, and you see how the stakes you will never be bored with this. I put it down because of my personal reasons and my personal way of experiencing a book, so that's a thing, but the stakes were there, the structure was there, there was a clear beginning, middle, and end, and I give props to the writer for this. It was a very well planned and developed story with a satisfying ending, I suppose. I mean, I saw it coming, but it was still quite satisfying because, yeah, you're rooting for the crew, for things to turn out better in the end, and yeah, we will see. It was a satisfying ending. It was what it should have been. Now let's talk about the writing in itself, and here's where I'm going to bring a little bit of criticism. Now, again, writing is subjective, very subjective, so trying to stay objective, being that this is my first book review, is going to be extremely hard. But anyway, this book was very well written. The descriptions were there without being over the top. This was not a overdone, descriptive, overly saturated with every leaf of every tree. No, this was not the case. And neither was it a white room syndrome. I always knew what was going on and where the characters were, and everything had its place. So that was something satisfying to read. Where I had a problem, and I feel that, again, this is very subjective because I am visually impaired, is that there were too many visual facial expressions, and like every action tag or every other action tag had its visual, like moved an eyebrow, or she said wrinkling the nose, and like moving the mouth in this way or that. I don't even remember because I am really terrible at this kind of descriptions. But like it kind of put me off. I think that was another of the reasons why I kind of decided to, okay, I'm going to read this a little bit later, because I am alienated by this kind of things, but that's a me thing again, because I cannot experience facial expressions, and actually this could actually bite me in the butt with my own writing because I don't do it as much, and readers actually love that kind of thing. So if you are one of those facial gesticulation lovers, this book is for you, because it has a ton of that. And if that's your jam, then this is for you. It wasn't for me because of my own experience. I actually personally don't. It puts me off because makes me stop to try to visualize a thing that I have never visualized before, and I'm like, okay, this is okay, whatever, let's get on with the plot, please. So that's a thing that happens when I try to read a book written by a very cited author and very visual author. So that's a thing. But there is one hiccup that is not subjective that I noticed in the writing, like a very strong hiccup. Like when I noticed it, I reacted, and I even voiced it aloud in public when I was in public transport, and there was the dreaded cliche phrase of, she released a breath she didn't realize she was holding. Oh no. that was my reaction. It was, oh no. And I said it aloud. I listened to the robotic voice say something along those lines, like, she released the breath she didn't know she was holding. I was like, oh no. That's my only, oh no. That's my only clear and defined and objective oh no of the book. Because it is a cliche in young adult, despite the genre fantasy, sci-fi, paranormal, whatever. It's a cliche in YA, and this book wasn't YA. So I was like, oh, what is this doing there? And oops. Now, in the defense of the author, this phrase happened in a moment of very high tension. So it fits. It actually fits. It's just the specific phrase and the way it is written, and the way it just shows up in every other book. It's like, oh no, it's you didn't do that. So yeah, my reactions when listening to books are pretty hilarious. You will see in my upcoming book reviews. You'll see more of that. You will hear how I react to a few phrases. If there's a specific phrase that stuck with me, then I'm going to talk about it. But this is not to bash the author. Once again, this was a hiccup. Everyone has it. I have my own. I have much more than just that one. I don't have that one, but I have others. So whatever criticism I bring up is not to bash the author. I don't want you to think that I am talking from a high horse perspective. It's just that I am aware of that cliche, and once I heard it, I couldn't avoid but saying, oh no, aloud. I'm sorry. But other than that, the writing overall was really good. There was a lot of research put out. There was a lot of thought behind everything that happened in the story. So I am not going to bring down the book just because of a hiccup. I'm just going to point out that it's there. So be prepared. It's happening. But other than that, that's what I can evaluate objectively. No spoilers. I'm not going to go into my personal opinions unless in future videos, if you want to hear my personal opinions on books, let me know in the comments. All your suggestions for my videos are welcomed. I'm going to take it. But like I said, everything that I say, take it with a grain of salt. Guys, I'm visually impaired. There are so many things that I experience so differently than you that I just want to talk about the book, recommend it, and see if it fits your reading taste. I feel it's worth the reading. It's not a lengthy novel. I feel like there's time for you to pick up this book and give it a chance. You're never going to get bored with it. So overall, I think for what I said, I will give this book 4 stars. And well, you heard all my arguments about it. So yeah, 4 stars. And I think it's a good book. Why wouldn't you pick it up? Well, I don't know. If you're not a sci-fi reader, the technobabble will maybe put you off. But if sci-fi is your jam and you are used to this kind of thing, like if you have read The Martian, or like if you're a fan of Star Trek, or like Grace, if you like Babylon 5, then this can be your thing. So that's it from my objective book review thing. And personally, I liked it, but I wanted to like it more. That's all I'm going to say, because yeah, the main character is Icelandic, so I was immediately sold on that. But maybe my expectations were too high, and this book was a short story and not a lengthy novel, so there were things that I had to adjust my expectations before picking it up. Yeah. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have you read the book already? Have you heard about the book but didn't pick it up? Or do you know about the author? Do you follow her blog? I'm going to link her blog in the description as well. also with the purchase link. So yeah, just give it a chance. I like to promote sci-fi writers. I know it's my thing. So don't forget to subscribe. I didn't have a chance to bring the bell with me, so imagine there's a bell, ring the bell, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!